Scientist. There is a simple roaming scientist, and there are scientists who hold one of the best weapons in the game. Believe it or not, but there's 12 different scientist variations. And today, I spawned 100 of each scientist to see what kind of loot you can expect to receive. So, without any further ado, let's jump straight to the first scientist. Roaming Scientist. Roaming Scientist is the most commonly met scientist in Rust. They can be met on the roads, shooting you from miles away and, most importantly, through the bushes. They hold 12 unique items in their drop table. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Roaming Scientists. Next on the list, Patrol Scientist. This type of scientist can only be found in the airfield and train yard puzzle areas, and their drop table is significantly richer than the Roaming Scientist. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Patrol Scientists.
Hey, Posty, remember a while ago I asked you how much likes on a vid I should get so you would duo with me, and you said 5,000? Well, here's that vid with plus 5k likes. Watch from 153 to 227.
I feel ignored. At least the chat backs me up. Oh, something happening? Crates. Oh yes. Crates are one of the most desirable things for a player.
This fucking guy did.
Huh?
How many likes on a vid should I get so you would do it, man? 5,000. I'm in 5 million.
Bro, what? Thank you to every single one of you for helping me reach 5,000 likes. Because of you, duo with Posty will happen soon. Next, Excavator Scientist. These scientists are slightly tougher to deal with than regular scientists. They have more health and are more aggressive. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Excavator Scientists. Next on the list, NVG Scientist. This scientist can only be located inside the missile silo. They have the health of a heavy scientist, which means you have to go there prepared with meds. As for the loot, it's pretty decent. You can obtain a few tier 2 weapons and other useful stuff. Anyway, here's loot from 100 NVG Scientists. Next up, Oil Rig Scientist. This scientist can only be located in small and large oil rigs. If you're lucky enough, you can get tier 2 weapons and other useful goodies. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Oil Rig Scientists. And now, Cargo Ship Scientist. There ain't much to talk about them, but one thing worth pointing out is that their job table is similar, if not the same, as the Oil Rig Scientist. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Cargo Ship Scientists. Next up, Military Tunnel Scientist. Military Tunnel Scientist loot is very similar to Roaming Scientist. The best item that you can get from them is the MP5. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Military Tunnel Scientists. Next on the list, Military Base Scientists. Military Base Scientists can be found protecting the MLRS, so once you enter the monument, other players living around it will know that, so be careful each time. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Military Base Scientists. And now, let's move on to the best scientists in the game, starting with Heavy Scientists. Heavy Scientists' job table is absolutely wild. You can get things like L96, all the tier 3 weapons, C4, and many other desirable goods. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Heavy Scientists. Next, a Heavy Scientist with a Flamethrower. I was very eager to find out how many flamethrowers I could get. The chance of receiving one is pretty high, 20%. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Flamethrower Scientists. Last but not least, Minigun Scientist. Minigun and Flamethrower Scientist share the same loot table. You can obtain the minigun from them with 20% chance. Anyway, here's loot from 100 Minigun Scientists. I decided it would be fair to include other NPCs that are not considered scientists, thus being tunnel and underwater dwellers. First, let's start with the underwater dwellers. They can only be found in the underwater labs. Despite the comps, dwellers have a bunch of crap loot too. Here's loot from 100 underwater dwellers. And now, tunnel dwellers. There ain't much to talk about them really. Their drop table is identical to Underwater Dwellers, so let's jump straight to the loot review. Last but not least, Arctic Scientists. The reason I left them in the end lies within the loot I received. So let's dive into the loot. As you can see, I received a brand new homemade SMG. I truly have no idea from which other scientists you can receive the new SMG. However, I would assume that any scientist capable of dropping tier 1 weapons will have the SMG in its drop table too. Anyway, I hope this video was useful. If so, drop a sub and a like, and I'll see you in the next video.